Today I'm going to show you guys how to put together these cute little slider Christmas cards. When you pull them up, the little fox will put the star on the top of the Christmas tree. It will reveal his little ladder that he climbed up, and then also sentiment that will be included in your kit, and then you can write your little message here. So I'm going to show you how to do the fox, and the little mouse works on the exact same principle. Also goes to the top, and then it will reveal a little ladder. In your kit you will get everything to make these two, so let me first show you guys what tools you'll need to put these together. So before we start creating the cards, let's have a look at all the different tools that you're going to need. Some of these will be optional, but this is everything that I use to do the assembly for my cards. So first of all, you're going to need some water for your painting. You're going to need a pair of scissors, a craft knife, some glue stick, your paint brushes, your little detail tool. Then I've got a Sharpie, which is optional depending on what design you want to do. My metal ruler. I use a wristband on my wrist for taking the excess water off my paint brushes, so that's optional. You can use some tissue paper if you want to. I've got my glazing stand, which is optional as well, but it does come in handy, and I'll explain that later to you. Then some masking tape, which is optional, but again you'll understand why I use that in a bit. You probably could use some sellotape as well. Then I've got my glue gun, my cutting mat, which is optional depending on how you're going to do the cutting. And then of course, last but not least, you will need to get yourself or have ready, I should say, your LED light if you're going to do some glazing. Again, this is optional depending on whether you're going to do glazing or not. So that's all the tools. I'm lying, it's not, because my pipette rolled away. Again, the pipette is optional as well, but this is just to add water to my paints. So now that we have all the tools sorted out, let me do my layout and put everything where it needs to be, and then I'm going to show you guys all the materials that you're going to need, and we'll go through the items that's in your craft kit as well. Oh, one more thing that I would suggest you get, again this one is optional, just depends on the design, is just a silicone mat to work on. You don't need to have the full size one, you can just have a small one if you do have one. We're just going to create some little drops on it, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So just to show you guys what materials I'll be using, and then going through everything that you'll receive in your little craft kit or your set for these cards, I'm going to use some of my Christmas glitter. So this is an extremely fine glitter that I use, and this is my Christmas collection, and they come in a bottle with a little nozzle so that you can squeeze the glitter out, and that just helps reduce the mess that you make. Then I'm also going to use, of course, my clear stuff. This you'll need if you're going to do glazing. If you're not going to glaze your items, then you don't need this or the LED light, but you can use the glazing for the glazing part of this. And then we're also going to use this with the glitter to create little droplets. And then the most important part is the watercolors. So this is my watercolors that I make myself, and I'll leave a link in the description below for you guys of all the different items that I am using, so you can go and grab yours. But this is my new little booklet. I've just got it on a metal ring, so all I'm going to do is just remove it from the metal ring so that I can use the colors on them. So I'm just going to pop them out, and I'll arrange them in a sec. And they've got little swatches on them so that you've got your paint, and you've got the name of the paint, and you can see the colors as well, so you can make decisions what colors you want to use. So now that we have that ready, I'm going to show you guys what you get in your craft kit. So let me just pop this to one side. In your set, you'll get everything and all the elements to make two of the cards. So one of the foxies and then one of the little mouse. So let me just pop these out, and then I can show you guys all the different elements that you'll get. Get those out. Put this one side. And we don't need the backing card. Okay, so you'll get the card pieces. So you'll either get ones that are marked already with the slider, the back cover, and then the bottom and the front, so the front panel on. Some of the sets won't have the names printed on, but you will definitely be able to recognize them. You'll see the slider will be the one that looks like this. The back cover will just be the rectangle, and then the front cover will be the one with the little window that we're going to cut out. So you should be able to differentiate between them, but after I've cut a whole lot of these, I then went back and put the names on just to make it easier for you guys to follow. So that will be two sets of the cards. Then you will also get the sentiments. So you'll get one season greetings and then one Merry Christmas in there. So just leave that in the packet until you're going to use it, just because they are fragile and you don't want to break them, because then they won't be usable. So put that to one side. And then for the big set, or the creme de la creme pieces, just pop them out so I can show you guys. There we go. So in your set you'll have the 2 packets that's marked the mouse and the fox, and this is because of the little back pieces that's going to go onto the little sliders. So I'll show those to you in a second. You're going to get 2 ladders, so 1 for each card, 2 Christmas trees, again 1 for each card, and then you're going to get your little, sorry guys, I got interrupted there. But then you'll also get your little mouse and your little fox. So those will be all your wooden elements that you will use to do the assembly with. So the first thing that you're going to do is paint these. So first of all, let me get these out of the way, and then we'll start by painting the little fox, and I will show you guys how I do that. When it comes to the paints that you're going to use, the only colors that I'm not using for my design, but you can do your own design and your own colors, will be the one with all the pinks on. So I'm going to take that one out, and you can use the paint dots. It doesn't matter which shape and size of my paints you use, but these will be the ones that I'm going to use. So first thing I want to do is get some water onto the paint. So I'm just going to use my pipette, just put it into the water and draw out some water. And then looking at my design that I've already done, I know I'm going to need some of Penny, so I'm going to put a drop of water on Penny. I'm also going to use gold. I'm going to use some antique gold, some black, definitely going to use white, and then rust, apricot, and I know I'm going to use Arctic. And then for this tree I'm going to use some fern and some chinois as well. So now what I'll do is, oh, I'm lying, I did use a little bit of pink on the ears, so I'm going to pull the pink back. I'm just going to pop it here at the top, because it's going to be the tiniest amount that I'm going to use. So now I'm going to leave this to stand for about a minute or 2, just so that the paints can rehydrate, and then we can start painting. And we're going to start by painting the little fox. Now that I've left the paint to rehydrate, I'm just going to move the ones that I'm not currently using just out of the way. I'm just putting them to the side, and then I'm going to grab the fox, and I will do the fox on camera for you guys, because I know that a lot of you wanted to learn how to do the shading, so we're going to do the fox on camera so I can show you guys that. So if you take your little fox piece, and let me just zoom in a little bit for you guys. There you go. And the first color that I'm going to use will be my apricot. Now I also want to show you guys how much paint to have on your brush. So if you're going to go into your paint, and I just pick up just for there because I want to show you guys the difference. If I paint on, and I can basically see the wood, so I don't know if you can see that nicely, but I can see the wood through there. It means you don't have enough paint on your brush, or your water to paint ratio is too low for your paints. So just make sure that you swirl your brush around, and if you've by accident put too much water in here, all you need to do is swirl it around for a bit, and then just wipe the water off, and then swirl it around again. Now when I go back on here and I paint, you guys can see the difference in the orange. Okay, so just make sure that your paint to water ratio is enough paint. And you can see it's bleeding there, but the bleeding will stop by the lines that I've scored in, so you don't have to worry about that. And the only time it will actually bleed over the line is if you've got way too much water on your brush, or if you've by accident painted over the line, which I sometimes do. So just go ahead and then paint all the orange sections of your little fox. Right, now that I've painted all the orange bits in, I'm going to add some shadow in. And I wanted to show you guys this. So with his ears, you know foxes have those fine little lines on the ears. So with the bleeding that's happening there, I actually like that, because what it will do is when I put the white and the pink in, I'm going to try and keep some of that so it looks like it's naturally there. So the next color I want to do is my white. So I'm going to, oh sorry, no, I'm lying, because I just said I'm going to do the shading. Now I didn't put water on my copper, but the copper I know really rehydrates very quickly. So I'm just going to put the tiniest bit on. And then if you are impatient or you forgot to do the rehydration like I just did, all you need to do is just add some water and then just keep swirling your brush until your ratio is good. Now for the shading, you need to naturally think where there'll be shade on him. I mean, don't overthink it, okay? But I know, like here at the bottom of the tail, and I'm saying I don't overthink it because I sometimes get it wrong. So I know the bottom of the tail, there'll be some shading over here, on this arm, under his head, and I'll maybe put some at the top here as well. So all you need to do is, with that on the brush, just go into where you want your shading to be. I'm just going to drop a little bit there. And then I'm going to drop a little bit on this leg and this arm, and like I was saying, I think I'll put a little bit there, or maybe do his nose or nose area, the area leading up to his nose. And then this ear will also have a little bit of shadow. A little bit more water. Okay. And then I'm going to rinse my brush off completely, dry it on my wristband, so make sure you get it dry, and then I'm going to go in and do some blending. So for the tail, all I want to do is I just want to brush the paint. I'm trying to angle it so you guys can see. I just want to brush the paint across. Just lightly like this, and you can see it's done some shading there. And then I'm going to do the same for all the other different sections. And then that is some shading done. And it already just makes him look a little bit better and not just so flat. So you can go in again. So if I wanted to do a little bit more here by the tail, I'll go in again into my copper, grab a bit more, put a little bit more there, brush, clean, make sure you dry off your brush, and then just fan it out again. And I angle mine because sometimes the hard lines are hidden if you leave them flat. So just angle yours as well, just to make sure that you feather it out properly, not to leave any harsh lines. And there you go. Look how cute that looks already. Make sure you clean off your brush properly, and then we're going to go into the white. So putting my white ready, I'm going to put my wet brush on and swirl it around. So Anne has messaged me this week and asked how she can get her white as nice as mine, and it's all just to do with your water to paint ratio. You can see that's very, actually let me show you guys, you can see that's like kind of pasty but not watery, but not like really pasty. So just look for that type of consistency. And again, like with the orange, if you paint onto your piece and you can see the wood, then you just need a little bit more paint to water ratio. So I'm just going to paint all the white sections now first. And let me show you guys. So this is when it's too dry, okay? So just wet your brush again and then just swirl it until you get that lovely creamy consistency again. So then that is all the white done. And if you ever want to do some shading on the white, I normally just use a bit of silver. So let me remove this. And with the silver, I'm going to wet my brush, not have it too wet. So I don't want the brush too wet. And I'm just going to swirl on the top because I don't want to get too much of the silver on here and make it too dark. And just a little bit of silver. And maybe just here. Then clean off your brush properly, dry off your brush, and then just fan that out a little bit. And that way you can create some shading on white. Very subtle, but it makes a very big difference on the eye if you just add a little bit in. And there you go. Now next let's do the little star. For the star we're going to go into gold, so I'm going to wet my brush and swirl my brush on my gold until I get that nice creamy consistency. A little bit more water. There we go. And then I'm going to pick my paint up and I'm going to go straight onto the piece. And there you go. So the final color we're going to do is final two colors, I suppose. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to put white in there because on the ear, look how cute that already looks with the orange just kind of filtered into that. So I think I'm going to leave that. It's just the eyes and the nose. Now, when you paint with black, especially if you're going to do small pieces like that, I don't actually put water in and then use it. So all I do, and you can probably see it on mine, that I just on the side here, I always just use my brush there and just pick up a little bit, because for some reason my black likes to bleed. I don't know why, and if you paint them last and then it bleeds over, then it ruins your whole piece. So I'm always extremely careful. So I've put some water on my brush, it's not super wet, and I'm just going to swirl it a little bit into the black so I can make sure I get enough black on. And then I keep my brush up like this, and then I'm just going to dab until I am happy with where the black is. If you have too much water, it will just bleed out. And there you go. That's a little foxy done. Super easy, and if you do that little bit of shading, it makes a massive big difference to your design. So let me show you a quick tip even with these small little pieces, and then I'll leave you to paint your Christmas tree on your own, and then we'll come back and do the assembly together. So when it comes to the small pieces, it's always a little bit fiddly to paint them and they move around. So I've got a little trick for you guys. So in your little set with the small pieces, you're going to have your little string that we're going to use on the card, and then your 4 little lights or 5 lights. I've put 4 on my card, but we can paint 5 of them. And then you'll have like a very odd shaped piece. Make sure that you don't throw this piece away, just put it to one side, and I'll show you guys how to use that with the assembly. So put that to one side, and then this is now where the masking tape is going to come into play. So just grab yourself a piece of masking tape, and then we're going to line up all the different pieces that you want to paint. We're going to line up on the masking tape, and this will also make it easier for you when you glaze these. Okay, and I'm going to put the string aside with the other piece as well. Then for the painting of these, again, you can paint them any which way you want to, but I'm going to first paint the pieces that is going to be the same. So I do my tops in black. I'm just going to grab some black, and then I'm just going to paint that, making sure again I don't have too much water on my brush, especially with the black. There you go. Clean my brush off properly, and then I'm going to go into the gold and just swirl that around and grab some of the paint and just paint those little pieces as well. Okay, and then I'm going to paint the lights. So you can make the lights any colors that you want to. I just like the traditional colors, so I'm going to go through them and paint each of them a different color. And there you go. So they all painted now. So I'm going to leave you to paint your little Christmas tree, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start with the glazing, and I'll show you how to use the glitter with the glazing as well. So now that we have all of our pieces painted, we want to start with our glazing if you're going to do glazing. If you're not going to do glazing, you can just skip ahead in the video to do the assembly, but we're going to glaze all of these pieces first. So the first thing that you want to do is take your clear stuff and pop it upside down on your little glazing stand. Now the reason why we do this is mainly for bubbles. Because my clear stuff is not a full-blown UV resin, you can't run a flame over the clear stuff to pop any bubbles, so you will either need to use your little pokey tool to pick them up, or you can put them on your stand, and to reduce the amount of bubbles, what will happen is if you leave it upside down, the bubbles will float to the top of the clear stuff inside the bottle and then stay away from your nozzle. So put it upside down and leave it like that. You can actually do that right before you even start painting and just leave it like that so the bubbles have time to float to the top. Then the next thing you need to do is make sure that this is very far away from your LED light. You can see I've got them on two different sides. I am going to move this across when I do my glazing. Or my curing of my glazing, and then I will just move this out of the way so that I can make sure that I don't by accident cure the clear stuff in the nozzle of the bottle. If you do that, what you can do is you can take the nozzle off the bottle and then just with a needle push the cured piece through the other side. So do it from the back to the front, and then it will pop it out. But the best thing to do is just to make sure that you keep it away. So leaving that there, and I've got my LED light ready on this side and my little pieces. We are now going to do our glazing. So it's super easy to do. You can do one of two things here. So let's do the little lights first. Let me pop these to the side. You can either just do straight up glazing on these pieces, or you can use the glitters to enhance the pieces even more. So I'll show you both methods. If you're going to do straight up glazing, all that you need to do is take your clear stuff and then just straight out of the bottle go onto the clear stuff. You see I stopped squeezing there, and for this piece all I'm going to do is I'm going to just move the clear stuff to where I need it to be, and then that's it. So there's a little bubble there, so I'm just going to quickly try and pick that one up. There we go. Just wipe it off on a piece of tissue. And then this one is ready to cure. So all I'm going to do is take my light, move it over. My bottle is closed, so I don't need to move my stand. And then I'm going to press this. So I'm going to put it on, and then I'm going to leave it just for a minute because I want to show you guys quickly how you can test whether something is not cured fully, so you can see what it looks like. But normally I would leave it for about 2 minutes under the small light. If you've got a big nail light, 60 seconds should be enough. So let me leave that and we'll come back to that in a sec. Right, so I'm going to stop that and let me zoom in for you guys so you can see properly. So all I'm going to do is if you're not, oh, I had a bubble that I missed, so that's perfect because then I'll show you guys how to get rid of that. So this is what will happen if you do have a bubble. If it's close to the surface, basically what it will do is it will create a little nipple like this. But don't try and file it off. I'll show you how to fix that as well. All I'm going to do is just put another layer of clear stuff on and then cure it again. To see whether it's cured properly, all that you need to do is just, let me see, press your nail in. If your nail still makes an indent, so if you can feel it makes an indent, all you need to do is pop it under the light for a little bit longer. So before I do that, I'm just going to add some more clear stuff so I can get rid of that little nipple. So I'm just going to go straight with my clear stuff onto the piece again, and because it's now a dome, what I need to do is I need to get the light over this quickly so that it doesn't flow over the edges. So that should do it, and then I'm just going to pop my light and pop that on, and now I'm going to leave it for 2 minutes in full. And now that I've left it for 2 minutes, I can take that out, and you can see it's just going to be higher than the rest, but the little nipple is now gone and you can't see it anymore. So you can also go and glaze the top parts, and then I'm going to show you quickly how you can do a different type of glazing on this using your glitter. So all you need to do is, and this is why I like working on a silicone mat, so just take some of your clear stuff and just pop that on your mat, just enough to go onto your piece. And then I am going to add some of my green glitter and just lightly press the bottle and just get a little bit out. There we go. Your glitter is going to go a really long way because you use so very little. You will literally have glitter left for next year for Christmas as well. So just mix that. And then with my little detail tool, I'm going to pick that up and pop it on. And for some reason, I don't get bubbles when I do this. You'd think I'd get more bubbles because I'm mixing it, but nope, that is not the case. So I'm going to pop that on, move it to where I need it to go. And then with this here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the light, go over there for 2 minutes, and I'll be able to peel the excess. I'll just peel it off the mat. So leave that and let's get that cured now. So now that that has cured, and one thing that I didn't mention to you guys before is when you do the glitter pieces, they will need to just cure for longer because the light needs to penetrate through. So then that is the two different ways. So you can either do just straight up glazing, or you can just add a little bit of glitter and then it will give some extra sparkle as well. So go ahead and then glaze all your other pieces, and then we will move over to our little fox. Oh, and you can just pull this off and it will just come off your mat. So for the rest of your pieces, you can decide what glazing you want to do. On my sentiment, I've tried before to glaze it and it didn't come out nice, but if you want to give it a go, then go ahead. But I leave my sentiment unglazed. For my ladder, all I'm going to glaze on here is just the little steps. My tree, I'm going to glaze the baubles and then the little strings. And for my fox, I'm going to do the tail. And what else will I do? I'll maybe do the tummy and then the star. So you can go ahead and do your glazing for all your different pieces, and then we can start looking at the extra elements that I've done, and we can start with the assembly. Okay, now all my pieces have got some glazing on, and we can now start working on some of the elements. So I'll show you what I mean by the elements. I'm just going to put all this to one side. So on both of these cards I did these little droplets, which is basically just clear stuff and some glitter. And I don't know if you can see the beautiful shimmer inside them. I especially love the snow one. So we're going to make those, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And for that you definitely do need to have a silicone mat of some shape and form. So to do that I'm going to use my glitters. So I'm doing these 3 colors. You can of course do any of the colors that you want to, but I don't know why I just like these ones on my design, so I'm going to do these 3 colors. I'll show you how to do one of them, and then you guys can go ahead and make as many droplets as you would like to make. So first thing I'm going to do is take my clear stuff and I'm going to squeeze a generous amount out on my silicone mat. And when I'm happy with that, I'm going to put my clear stuff away again. And then you can decide which glitters you want to use. I'm going to start with the snow. And all I want to do is squeeze the bottle until I get enough. Now with snow you need to kind of get quite a bit on. And just be careful, because with snow, if you squeeze it in the same spot, it just blows the glitter away like that. So I'm just going to put on, so generous amount you definitely need with the snow. Close that up, and then I'm just going to take my detail stick and I'm just going to mix this together. Okay, when I'm happy with the mixing, all I'm going to do is just pick some up, and then I'm just going to do some droplets. I'm going to make a whole lot of droplets, and then we're going to put the light over, and I will secure this for about 5 minutes to get them set properly. And then once I'm happy with all my droplets, all I'm going to do is take my little light, pop it over there. I'm going to put it this way around because I want to cure the mess that I made here as well, and leave that for 5 minutes to cure under your little light. Well, I forgot to press record again. What I was saying to myself in the background is, once you've cured that for about 5 minutes, then you can just pop these straight off the mat and then pop them to one side, and then you can go ahead and make as many of whichever colors you want to. And once you're done with that, we'll come back and then we'll start with the assembly of your little card. So do that first, and then we'll come back in a sec. Just before I go away, I wanted to show you guys, I pulled off all the extra clear stuff with glitter from here, but then I've still got some of the glitter stuck to my mat. So all I'm going to do is just take some tape. I'm just going to pop that down and then pull that back so I can get that off my mat, because I want to do different colors. So do that to get the glitter then off your mat, and then you can go ahead and do your other colors as well. Right, now that we've done all of our elements, we can start with the card pieces. So you're going to have two sets, 3 per card. So you'll have your little slider piece, then you're going to have the back cover, and then of course you're going to have the front panel, which I've marked for you, which needs to be the bottom on this one. So first thing that you want to do is just grab your scissors, and wherever I've got black lines, that is your cut lines. So for black is cut, and then pink will be folding. So we're just going to cut those off, and the same with the front panel. We just want to cut off the corners, all of those on the black lines, and then we're going to fold the pieces over. So for this one, what I do, I don't know what method you like to use, but for me, I'm just going to use my craft knife, my box knife actually, that I use for crafting, and I'm going to use my cutting mat and my metal ruler. And I'm just going to cut the box out. So I'm just going to pop that there. And then go around and cut all 4 sides. There you go, and once you've done that, you can pop that piece out, and then we can go ahead and fold. So for folding, what I do is I also use my metal ruler. I'm just going to put it on that pink line, and then I'm going to lift the side up. Oops. Just fold it right up against the ruler. I'm going to fold it over, and I just put my ruler on top and just do that basically. But if you've got a, what do they call it, bone thingamajig, you can see I'm not a card crafter, then you can use that, but I'm just using my ruler and just go around and do the other 2 sides as well. So for the slider, you can fold it over as well, but I made a little bit of a faux pas on this one. For the newer sets, the slider will be printed on the side so it doesn't show, but at the moment, if you use that one on the little window, you will actually be able to see it. So all I do is just fold it the other way around so that this side will be the up and down slider. So once we've done that, we're now going to glue the pieces together, these two. So you take your back cover and your front cover, just make sure you've got all those sides folded down nicely, and then add some glue to them. You can use the red card tape that card maker, if you're a card maker, you can use that, so the double-sided tape, or you can use any glue that you use for your crafting, but I'm just going to use a glue stick. It seems to work well enough for me. And then take your back cover and make sure that the word is on the inside so you don't see it on the back of the card. And then you're just going to want to line it up on the side, get it as straight as you can, pop that down, and then just kind of work your way around and just flatten that out nicely. Okay. And there you go. If you do have a slight overhang like I've got here, just take your scissors and just very carefully, I almost say gently, it's nothing gently about using a pair of scissors, and just cut that little extra trim piece off. You're bound to have something there. If you don't, then you're really good. And then that is the card assembled. Now for the design, it depends on what you want to do. I did on the little foxes, I didn't do any extra lining or anything, but I quite like the one that I did on the little mouse, where I have the extra dots and the line around the box. I just feel it doesn't look as empty. So it's really personal preference. If you want to do that, you can go ahead and do the lines, which I'm going to do. Just do the lines, don't do the dots, and then we'll carry on with sticking the rest of the pieces on and doing the final assembly. And there you go. So the lines are done. They don't have to be perfect. The whole idea is so it looks nice and crafty and arty. So the next thing we're going to do is the assembly. So with your wood pieces, remember I said that you will have this tiny little weird piece. So we're going to stick that one onto our fox. Now, you want to, the reason why we put this on is there needs to be a space between the fox, the card, and the tree for the fox to be able to move up and down, which is why you've got these weird pieces. And in the mouse set, let me get that out so I can show you guys. The mouse set is even weirder, but but you'll kind of figure out where they need to go. So let me just get that. The mouse set has got two little pieces, and I had to make these two pieces. They are very weird, but very functional, because they need to be able to go underneath the mouse and not stop the mouse from going past the tree, and also not stop it at the top. So all you need to do is take your mouse and turn it upside down, and kind of on the tail is where that one fits. So you'll see it will fit in nicely. And then this one, I think it's by the ear. Let me have a look. It's just by the ear section. I think it's this way around, just so that we've got a space for it to move up and down. So if you see that they're on this side of it, so that it's on the side of the little slider. The fox is a little bit easier, because all you need to do is just line up his little foot. I should maybe have marked these. So line up his foot so that the little square-ish piece is on the tail. So just line that up, and when you know where it needs to go, I'm just going to use my glue gun. Just add a drop of glue without burning myself. And then I'm going to add that on, make sure that it lines up nicely. And you can use wood glue or craft glue to do this as well. I'm just using the glue gun because it's really quick for the tutorial. And there you go. So now you've got that piece which will create the spacer, so that essentially your tree, the slider can now move up and down past your tree. Okay, so that's why we have that little piece there. Then we're going to do the assembly of the pieces onto the card. So first thing you want to do is take your slider card and pop that into your card. If I can get mine in. And make sure you go right to the bottom. And the first thing that you want to do is put your little ladder in. So for the ladder, you just need to make sure that these feet are just underneath there, and just center it on this piece here, okay? Sorry, I'm lying to you. Don't put your slider in. I always let you do everything wrong. I'm so sorry. Don't put your slider in yet, because the slider needs to go over the top of it, sorry. But the same goes, you need to just make sure those feet are just under the card over here, so that the slider can move up and down past it. So go ahead and put some glue on. Again, I'm just going to use my glue gun. If you use a glue gun, because you can't move it around after you stuck it out, just put the glue, if it's going to come out, just on the bottom part. Oh, a little bit more. And I'm doing, oh no, actually you can put on the one right at the top as well, so that I can, I don't want to burn myself, get my feet in, center it, and then stick it down. Okay, and then that's that. So you might have some glue gun threads there like you do, but just pick those out. And then the next thing, sorry, that I'm going to do is put the slider in, which will go over the ladder, and it's going to hide that ladder. And then I'm going to put my fox on first. So I'll put my fox on first because I want to see where the tree needs to go. So fox first, and essentially this line here, you need to line it up in the corner. It's very difficult to show on camera, but you need to, the bottom of his feet needs to touch the bottom of this line. That line there needs to go straight up to this line of this card over here. So you're going to be able to pop it in and just pop it into that corner essentially. Okay, so again I'm going to go with my glue gun, and again you can use any crafter's glue. The only difference is this is just quicker. for me to be able to carry on and not wait for the glue to dry. And I've got it in so that it touches this line and his feet are on the bottom, touching the bottom line. And now your slider can move up and down. So the card does bow a little bit when you've just assembled it. Eventually it will settle down, so don't worry about that. It will go down eventually. And then now he's going to go up and down the tree. Next thing we want to do is see where we need to put our tree. So for the tree, just put it underneath the star and just maybe line it up with a corner first. Just hold on to it and pull your slider up, because what you want to make sure is that he can go right to the top of the tree, that he doesn't go past the tree. So for me, I can move my tree up a little bit. And that's essentially where I'm going to want it to be. So slide him back down again, make sure that he can slide past the tree to go right back down, and then pull him up again. And then that for me is perfect. Okay, so then for your tree, don't make the mistake I made the first time. I put glue on this side and then glued everything together. Your tree, you want to put the glue on the side that's going to be away from the ladder. So just on the side you need to put glue. So leaving your fox at the top there, I kind of eyeballed where I'm going to have this. But I can now slide the tip of the tree underneath the star to make sure that it actually does go under the star, and then just pop that down and press it down, and then that's done. So now you've got your little fox going up and down the tree. Yeah, mine keeps on getting stuck there. Okay, next thing you can do is do the little light bulbs at the top. So I'm just going to fold it over for the moment. You could probably have done that beforehand. And then I'm going to use the string. So I gave you the string is a little bit longer. Let me take the mat away. So the string is a little bit longer for a good reason, and that's so that you can have some space to hold it down when you put it down. So we're going to take our little light bulbs, and I'm going to pull these off. And first thing that you want to do is just space them out. So on the original ones that I made, I only put 4 light bulbs on. So you can do 4 or 5, it depends on what you want to do. So I'm just going to say I want it like, and don't make them lie all straight, because they're not really straight. They're supposed to hang all wiggly, wobbly. So you can put on all 5 on. I think I'm just going to put 4 on. And do it like that. And then all I'm going to do is take that away. I'm going to put my string down, hold my string flat, put some glue on. For this you will need to use a glue gun. Oh, that fell on my skin. And then pop your light on top of the string and that piece, and it will hold the whole piece down. I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to put them here so I know where they go. So this one's already making a nice little curve. I'm going to pop down some glue. Down there a little light. Make it a bit squiff. Come down again. Pop down some glue. Pop down my light. And then last one. Pop down some glue. And pop down my light. I'm just going to pull the string so the string goes this way and doesn't stand up. And that's those done. And then I just cut mine so it's the same. Oh, so it doesn't hang over the slider. If you fold that over, and there you go. Oh, do you know which piece I don't have on here is my little star? Let me grab my star. Right, I'm just a little bit stupid. Of course I don't have a star because the fox puts the star there, Dee. Anywho, let's just pretend like that didn't happen at all. Right, last thing to get onto here is the sentiment. So you want to pull your slider out again and then grab your sentiment, if I can find where I've put mine, and kind of see where you want to put it. Now you don't want it right to the top, but you also don't want it too far down because you still want to be able to write a message, you know, from D or whatever you want to write on it. The other thing that you can do is you can also put your message on the back. So if you want to put your message on the back of the slider, you can do that as well, and then you can kind of center this one. So I'm going to put mine just at the top. So again, I'm going to go with my glue gun, just so I don't have to wait for glue to dry, because I'm impatient like that. Okay, and then try and get rid of all the cobwebs. And then I'm going to pop it down. There we go. And then that will be able to go down. And then that is the majority of that done. So now you can decide, this is again a design decision, whether you want to have the additional elements around the side like I've done on mine here. If you want to do that and you've made your little dots, you can now bring these in. The only thing that you need to make sure is actually for the fox on the side here, actually you don't need to make sure of anything because he's going to move over them anyway. So now you can go ahead and decide where you want to place your little dots, if I can actually even pick mine up. So just go around first and dot them around and see where you want them. If you've got my Christmas tree decoration set, you've got the little bows, and you can even put some of the bows around, which I think I'm going to do on this one just to make this one a little different. So you can put little bows. Let me turn that one that way. So basically just plan where you want to have your elements on. Okay, so that's where I want mine. So I'm going to use the glue gun, but for this stage I will say rather use craft glue, because it's easier for the little dots, because I know I'm going to be burning my hands now by doing this. So use the craft glue if you want to do this, and just go around and stick them down where you've got them in place there. Okay, and now that I have all of that done, I'm just going to pop in some of the dots with my Sharpie. I just kind of like that effect. I'm just going to randomly dot them around. I don't know, it just adds to the design. There you go. And then that is your slider card completely done. Boy, it's getting stuck still. I need to just push this flat and let it lie flat for a while. Oh no, I know what I did. Be careful. His tail's not moving over that. Okay, so don't make the same mistake I did. Don't put a little bow on there. I'm going to pull that off. I'll put something down there to cover it up. But there you go. There you go. Now he'll go up and down again. So that is your little card done. I'm so sorry about that. I hope that you don't put something there. All I'm going to do is just use one of my bigger blobs, and it's going to be a white one. Let me just cover this up. Cover up my mess. You know, crafter, sometimes you just have to fix what you have done. Mistakes that you've made. There we go. It's two white spots next to each other. Nobody's going to notice it. If you see me at the NEC, you see it. You know, you've got a good eye. But anyway, there we go. So card is completely done, and like I was saying, your little mouse one is going to work with the exact same concept. The only difference is just the little pieces at the bottom. But again, just make sure that you line your mouse up to the side, and then it will be able to slide up and down on his ladder. Why both? You know, this isn't what happens when you record videos. Now my mouse is getting stuck. I don't know why that one's now getting stuck. And there you go, guys. That is your slider cards done then. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give me a subscribe, a thumbs up, which I think is equivalent to a like, and comment in the on the video below, just so I can see that you have watched it and that you've enjoyed it. Links to all of the products that I've used will be in my description below. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy your cards. Bye.